Ashleigh.
I'm Curtis.
And together,
we're Information Lane.
So today you're going to get a little special episode
about a little bit of insight of who we are. So if you want to know a little bit about Ashleigh and Curtis, Information Lane, and what we got going on and where we came from, tune in, buckle up.
Yes, this week I take over, and the intros didn't run as long as I thought. So we are riding by the seat of our pants, and we love it.
Yes.
I am one of the producers. I am the producer, I guess, right now of Information Lane with Curtis and Ashleigh here. Push buttons, basically. And one second.
He makes us look good.
You know, I thought it was time. This is the 4th episode, so it's kind of time, right? Because, you know, the first one, you're just kind of getting on the bike and figuring out how to ride it, you know, and then the second one is like, okay, this is the structure we're kind of going with. Third one, we had a guest, felt that out. And now what we want to do is get a little bit deeper into you guys, learn a little bit more, kind of put to bed any questions we may have. Okay. So as we go forward, we got the first month done. We have a solid structure, and we can let the people know what to look forward to coming up. So yeah, that's what we want to do today, or that's what I want to do today. And you're letting me, let's go.
Let's let it rip.
Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. As a producer, you know, for a while of a bunch of shows, Information Lane has jumped out to some huge success. Great interest. More than anything, the most amazing thing I think I'm seeing right now is the interaction, how we're touching so many people and how people can't wait to, you know, sign up to be a part of the team, whether they're joining the Facebook group, in the chat, on the show, wanting to be on the show. That stuff is amazing. So, you know, we love that. So let me ask you that. What have you guys thought, you know, just jumping out to the success that you guys have experienced so far? Tell me about that. What's that been like for you guys?
Actually, it's a little humbling, you know, because we didn't expect all this to turn out the way it turned out. We were just two people navigating through epilepsy. And let me tell you, it's amazing after that. And just to see the hearts and the lives that we touch. We have a few people that come on our show. Heather Marks, amazing. Her husband, Bobby, amazing people. Ashley Howe, I love you. That's my hero. And if you stay tuned in, you're going to learn a little bit about her. I promise you, she's here and she's here for life. And her mom, Rose. They are key to what we got going on here, because when I first started my trail, I had no hope. I was lost, and Miss Rose came and told me, she said, get it together. Somebody needs you. And here we are.
Yeah, I've been on, we're involved in other Facebook groups for epilepsy and just other things. Like I'm in a few mom groups. And so it's weird to see how your trajectory and, you know, you're posting things. And I've seen a lot of people lately saying like, hey, I love the Facebook group, but could we get like, a group chat going on or some interaction, or somebody want to do a live? Because it's always somebody asking a question and then they sit and wait for America to answer their question, right? So we've been going on there, posting our QR code, posting this and saying, hey, we have that platform. We have that already. Come join in, ask the questions, be a part of this. And you'd be surprised how many people are like, wow, I didn't know something like this existed already. So like we've mentioned before, we are an interracial couple, and there is nobody else on this platform doing what we're doing of speaking and navigating through epilepsy.
That's right. We're real people. We have real conversations. We live real lives. There's nothing fake about what you see here. I work 70 hours a week. She works up to 50 hours a week. We're raising 3 grown kids. She has a kid that's 4. I have a grandson on the way. That's a bunch of responsibility. And like I said, what we don't do is allow stigma to get in between that. So what we're here to do is pass out positivity, and all those who arrive, I promise you, you'll be here for the ride and you'll enjoy what you got going on.
Heck yeah. I know I'm part, and I do. I do want to ask, kind of carrying that. I love that. So I do want to kind of ask, I'm trying to pick how to say this. Okay, so you guys can be intimidating. I'll just come out and say it. That's the easiest way to say it, is to say it. You guys can be intimidating. And what I love about what you do is you're very honest, and you guys go, hey, we're not perfect. I mean, Ashleigh, I've had more than one woman tell me you are intimidating. Like, how
Yeah.
does she do it? She's got it going on. She works full time. She's got kids. She takes care of Curtis. You know what I mean? Like, how does she do it all? And I don't know. I still would wonder as well. And then Curtis, of course, is like, man, my man has epilepsy. Working, for those that don't know, you work outdoors.
Yes, sir.
Florida heat.
Look at the tan.
Yeah, gorgeous. I'm coming. I need one of those. Anyway,
That's right. Come on down.
Florida heat, epilepsy, 70 hours a week, children, working on grandkids. So would you guys tell us? And here's the thing. I hate questions like, what's your secret? There's no secret, right?
No.
Like,
No.
you're not hiding something in a box and then you go and
That's
open
right.
the box and light signs and you have the
surprise.
yeah, and all the answers. So how do you do it? What do you attribute the strength, the continuation, the grit it takes to do what you do? Oh, and you guys have a podcast now too, and a very
add that to the plate.
Amen.
which is another at least 20, 25 hours a week. I bet you guys didn't think when you started, oh, we're both starting a part-time job with needy folks and no money. Cool.
That's right. Hey, but we're willing to go full time for no money. Let me tell you, this cause is way worth it. Like, I'll work for free. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so I'll say, like, in the beginning, I don't know how I did it. I just did it because it had to be done. And as I started to do things and we dived into this journey and did this, it's God. God has us and we are heavy into our faith. And that's how I'm able to do this, because I know he's going to carry us through every day. And I know that sounds cheesy to a lot of people because they're just like, really? And about your comment about intimidating, I've heard that my whole life. And I guess it's just the way that I carry myself, because I'm pretty confident on the things that I know. And I'm one of those fact-finding people. So, like, for instance, when Curtis was first diagnosed with epilepsy, I totally got on the internet. I was Googling, I was chat GPTing, everything. Like, I'm a very green person. I need to know the how, the where, the why, and why it's going on and why it's happening. So before I speak on anything, I always do my research, my education. And that's really what I think is the most important thing. And that's where I get my confidence from, because I'm like, well, no, I've already researched this. So I'm pretty sure, like, I know what I'm talking about. And I think a lot of people do find that intimidating. And because I am put together, I take care of myself, and I know I don't look my age. And a lot of people are just like, wow, I do have a powerful personality. And I think that's from my father and my mother. I was in construction my whole life. And so being a female in the male industry, you have to stand on your own 2 feet or you'll get walked over.
Very true. Very true. And Curtis?
For me, the confidence came from not wanting to fail. There's no part of me ever wants to fail. I know I'll never win every battle, but as long as I show up, it's a success. But I think for the most part, watching people like Heather, the Ashleighs, my kids, just breaking those generational curses, I think that's what gave me the confidence. Because before I found out we had epilepsy, we're breaking these curses. I mean, we're changing our legacy. And this came knocking on the door like a thief, except for we invited it in this time. We didn't give it a chance to steal nothing. We invited it in, like the Lord said. We give them everything we got. And that's what I do daily. And also, all those people that's out there listening, you give me the confidence to get out here and do what I do, because somebody has to do it, and why not me?
Yes,
I love
for sure.
that. When it comes to epilepsy, I'm Rorschach from Guardians. You know what I mean? Am I stuck in here with you, or are you stuck in here with me?
Yeah.
I love that. You know what I mean? Now you can't leave. You know what I mean? Like, I love that we invited. Yeah, we said come in. We locked the door and said you ain't getting out until
That's
we.
right. We built a bigger table. We didn't build no walls. We built a bigger table, and right now we're breaking down walls so we can extend this table. So if you want to see that, come on, we're knocking this wall down.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And we want to be a voice for those people that don't have a voice. And, I mentioned this, I think, on our first episode, was that being in this situation, you feel so lost. And if you allow it, it'll drain you in depression, and you trying to navigate day by day. And really, that's what I did, was just navigate day by day. And so for me, it was empowering other people in my situation to give them the knowledge, like, hey, hold up. don't waste your time. This is all the research. This is what you need to know, because I don't want people to spend months and trying to figure things out. I mean, I know we all have to do our own research and stuff, but wouldn't it be easy to like come to Information Lane, your one-stop shop, and like find all the information that you're looking for?
And if you can't find it, we will. And that's our mission. Like, the mission was put on our heart. And let me just say thank you, Anchor Church, Pastor Teresa, Pastor Sean, Austin, everybody from the Blakeney family are amazing. That helped me with my confidence also to find my faith. And let me just say, if you walk in Jesus' name, all things are possible.
Absolutely. For sure. I love that faith is a strong part of, what you guys do, what you're involved in. Was that from the beginning? Like, were you guys two Christian people involved in, like, say, church or community, Christian activities, and then you met up? Or is that something you guys came to together?
I think we were always in belief, but we never really went to church. We've been through some bad experiences with churches, because a lot of times Christians are the worst ones. They'll judge you faster than somebody on the street, but you have to find the right Christians. And those are the everyday Christians, the Monday through Sunday, which is the beginning of the week, all the way through Saturday. And those are the people that we're surrounded by now. So that kind of brought us back to the faith that we were in. And I think it's amazing.
So I was born and
let me ask
real
fast, what caused that? Like, what, how long were you two married or together? And you guys said we're going to seek out a deeper spiritual connection to God.
We've been together 3 years. And I think in the beginning, it was really rough. We were both toxic. And we had to find a way to become one. And I think church is what did it, because we learned to love ourselves before we could love one another. But what we didn't do was give up on each other. We kept the battle going. Some days were rougher than others, but whose life isn't tough? It's how you take the hit and get back up is what really counts, So even if you're out there going through something, like, talk it out. Conflict can be settled with just a conversation, you know what I mean? And listen to understand, and don't listen to respond.
Yeah. So when I was born, I was baptized Episcopalian, then I was raised Catholic. Both of my parents went to Catholic school. When I had my own child, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I became a Christian. My son went to Trinity Christian when he was 4 years old, and we kind of went from there. And then have been a Christian probably for 28 years now. I didn't go to church all the time. I went on those special holidays, we call them Easter, Christmas, those types of things. So Curtis and I, when we got together 3 years ago, we started therapy. I would say about 8 months after we got together, we started therapy, because we were not going to church religiously. We knew that we needed to fix our toxic traits if we wanted this to work between the two of us. So we started therapy. And luckily, we found a therapist who was a Christian-based therapist. And so, not that she preached to us, but she did say, like, brought things up about God and your faith, and if you keep God at the center, things like that. So it was a year to the date. We started therapy in April. The following year, we said we needed more. We wanted something more. So on Easter of last year, we found Anchor Church, and we've been going ever since. Every Sunday. The only time we miss it is when it's our anniversary, we're on vacation, or it's one of our birthdays and we've gone away for a weekend, but we watch it online. We're really religious about our faith and staying into that.
And we're implementing it into our daily, and we give it to our kids as well. Our kids are, they don't go to church every day, but they hear their parents talk about it. And like I said, eventually even the hardest nuts will crack, and we're on our way. We'll do great things as long as people keep an open mind and judgment free. So
we went to our church. Like I said, we've been there for just a little over a year. And this Easter, ironically, they started these cruise group through our churches, and we ran our first married crew group through our church. So it was called Anchored in Faith. And we had about 5 or 6 other couples that joined on a Friday night, because we had nothing else to do, right? So we added that to it, but that actually helped us more than we thought it was going to help. We thought we were helping the other people to talk about things, how and keep God in the center of your marriage and all of that. But it really truly helped us to communicate even more.
Heck yeah. I love it when you do things for others, and you get a lot of benefit out of it too, especially
Right.
when it's just out of your heart and what you feel God is telling you to do and the path he's
Yeah.
leading you down. All of a sudden you're like, man, I didn't even care if I got anything out of this, but it's been so rewarding for me. I just wanted to
Right.
try to help other folks.
That's right.
And I
We
love
said
that.
if we just reach one person, it's success.
Yeah. It fills our cup.
Absolutely. So, and kind of going into that, being a person who, suffers from seizures myself, I feel like I can say this on a level a lot of people interviewing you may not be able to, and that is that I understand the role faith plays in epilepsy. I understand the role prayer and needing a relationship with God to make some kind of sense of some things. I completely understand that. So, because clearly you guys take it serious and you're strong in your faith and you love God and you love the experience with your Christian community, how has that played a role in the epilepsy with the seizures? Because, man, I know sometimes it's all I feel like I have is prayer and being able to talk to God. So,
Yeah. So we had
talk to me a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, sure. We had nobody. And like Curtis mentioned, our church, when Curtis had his second seizure, I was in a church group with the wives of our community at church, and it was Praying Wives Club. And there was about 30 or 40 women in there. He had his second seizure, and I put that in my prayer group with them and said, Curtis had his second seizure. My pastor picked up the phone. Can I come over right now? I said, yes, please come over. I need somebody. And she came over. Curtis was laying in bed. After you have a seizure, you're pretty much out of it for a few hours because you're so exhausted. It takes such a toll on your body. And she prayed over Curtis. She anointed him. She anointed the house. So we've really leaned into our community. And then she introduced us to the most two amazing people in this world, was Rose and Ashley.
Go Ashley. Go Ashley.
And like Curtis mentioned, if it wasn't for Rose, she was truly a godsend for us, and she was a godsend for me. I had my personal one-on-one person to say as a caregiver, how do I do this? Is this normal? What is going on? And so did he. I mean, he had so many questions for Ashley when we sat down with them for the very first time and asked, and it was so nice. And then to find out we had other people. We have another girl at our church. Her name is Stephanie, that has epilepsy, and she is amazing. And so we were able to form a community within our community of all of the people that we knew that went to church and were epileptics or having seizures.
It's definitely it's an eye opener. The church definitely helped me. Pastor T, she really set it all the way off. When she came to the house, I never had anybody come to the house and care that much that didn't know me. Most time when people came by, they wanted something from you. She didn't want anything. She just wanted to come help. And like I said, our pastors are imperfect people, but they have pure hearts. And that's what sets them from different people. It sets them off from other pastors. No shot at any other pastors, but my pastors rock. But they gave me the strength to also get up, and they also introduced me to the hero. Because without Anchor Church, I would have never met Ashley or Rose, and I'll probably have been telling you a different story right now if I was here at all.
And that the other thing I want to just add real quick was our pastor's wife who came to the house, she also suffered from seizures for 2 years and not sure why she had them. She was never diagnosed with epilepsy. So just having someone else in the community that was able to help was great. And every Sunday when we go to church religiously, everybody walks into the church, they will stop you and give you hugs. And I think just those words of encouragement every week, how are we doing? What's going on? And I'm like, we're 140 days seizure free. It just is a great feeling to get positive reinforcement from your community.
It's the community by itself, because they hug everyone. They talk to everyone every day. So it's not like they just got a bunch of people to come into their congregation, sit down, talk to them, and send them home. No, they actually talk to them, ask them about their day. They go above and beyond for the community, which allowed me to do what I do now. So they inspired me. So now I'm here to inspire you guys.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I love that. And talk to me about real world effects from whether it be epilepsy, dealing with other people, your marriage. How has finding the right church, being fed spiritually in that way, and then taking leadership and voluntary roles in church, how has that how does that help the battles, man? Because I'm going to be honest, man, a lot of times as Christians, me included, I go to church, Christian, for those that may not know.
That's right.
You get on a podcast or you hang out and we just talk about how great it is to be around each other, right? And it's like, well, that's any club, right? I mean,
Right.
what I need is, when I'm going on hour 11 of a really rough day at work and I just found out some bad news I can't even think about dealing with right now. You know what I mean? Where does this come in real time? One of the biggest tragedies in life, man, is having the information and knowledge and not applying it.
Right.
I was listening to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your question.
I was going to say I was listening to someone the other day, a famous comedian, talk about his father was very intelligent and had like 2 degrees and could have been a doctor, but they grew up very poor because he had all the knowledge. He just had no ability to apply it. And that to me is heartbreaking, right? It's like, it's that is, lack of wisdom right there, because wisdom is the application of the knowledge, right?
Right.
So in that, how has, your faith helped you all in those real world situations?
Well, knowledge is definitely power, and education is key. So in the beginning, we didn't know anything. We did a lot of research. We did a lot of footwork. So of course that takes up a lot of your day. So you forget about your normal and you start picking up information, but you forget that you got a real day behind you. So by the time you get caught up, now you're in this whirlwind. And then I think that's where the depression part sets in, because you start thinking, oh, well, I can't get everything done. You start saying I can't instead of I can do what I can do today. People say, I can't do this today. I can't do that. I can't get it all done. Well, you're not supposed to do it all in one day. You got to break that thing up. I think that was our hardest part, was separating epilepsy from our marriage. And it was kind of a stress at the beginning for me, because I got tired of hearing epilepsy. I was like, man, I can't forget I got this, because everybody brings it up.
Or he would say to me, if you ask me one more time how I'm feeling, I'm going to lose it. Like, stop asking me that. Right.
And it's nothing. It's frustrating, because you're dealing with something that you have no knowledge about. But I think for us, it gives us power to help other people. And you're always going to hear me say it's never about me. It's never about us. It's about we. We're here to help everyone. Even if you don't want the help. If you don't want the help, we're still going to help you, regardless, because you can't stop us. We're just going to keep putting that positivity out there. You got to accept it if you don't. But everyday life, you have to take the negative with the positive, just like you got to have the good with the bad. They equal each other out. It just depends on which one you decide to put the pressure behind. And we put our pressure behind the positivity.
And I think too is that how to tie it into our faith is we lived our lives during the week, right? We go to church on Sundays, and we weren't just going to church. We were going to church, if you know what I mean. Like, we were worshiping, we were singing, and while we're standing there praising the Lord, we're saying our own prayers individually. And I know Curtis, a lot of the times, is, Lord, thank you for just getting me here today. Thank you for no seizures this week. Thank you for, all of these things, all these little blessings that most of us take for granted. It's the big wins that people celebrate. Hey, 1 year seizure free, but every day is seizure free is a blessing.
Every second seizure free is the blessing. Every second.
And so I think for tying it into our faith is that was a way for us to go and thank the Lord for the things that we had each week and the blessings that we were received, big or small. Right. And Curtis, still to this day, I'm going to give him 100% credit, was way more into his faith than I am. Mm-hmm. Like, when I'm nervous and scared and all of the things, and he's working all these hours at night, and he's like, stop worrying. God's got us. Like, we're not going anywhere. I mean, if I'm going to have a seizure, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep on moving. Like, it's okay. And so it was really a lot for me to try to digest that and understand, like, where is he pulling this strength from? Like, where is he getting that from? And so I just really had to dial into that. And, he often gets words spoken over him. And I'm just like, what does that sound like? I'm almost envious of him having that connection with God where he's hearing these words and stuff. And like, it's really powerful. And I think it helps me and it helps him. So when we go to church, our cup is full.
And also what we were doing is we were taking what we learned on Sunday and applying it to our everyday and passing it on to the people at work. When they're having bad days, you talk to them about Jesus Christ and how his day was way worse than any day you'll ever go through.
Yeah.
And a lot of people ask me questions too, and I say, well, if you look at my hats tell a story. Like right now, I'm wearing a heat hat, but it's not just a heat hat. It shows that my soul is on fire and I'm protected by Jesus. So anything I go through, I'm going to get through.
That's true, but my hat, if you look, it says Buc-ee's. It's not just a Buc-ee's hat.
Cleanest bathrooms in the area.
Got the best pralines on the planet.
See, it's got a buck and a ease. You know what I mean? Because after you buck, you got to kick back.
That's right.
You know
Hey, we need everybody out there to comment their best or favorite thing from Buc-ee's, please. Because I'm telling you what, we got a lot of conversation going on over here. The brisket is good, and please, no avocado ranch on the chicken burrito.
No. And if we keep talking about Buc-ee's, they're gonna have to sponsor us. Okay?
Seriously?
Let's go, Buc-ee's.
But and something you said I kind of want to get back to is, words spoken over you. What is that, right? For the layperson who may not know what like a word spoken over you is, what is that? I can't really explain. I can tell you how I felt about it. I pray and I pray and I pray for God to show me the way. And most of the time it happens is when you're in the most peaceful situation. But the last time it happened, it was in the midst of a little bit of chaos. The first one was obedience. And I didn't know what that meant. So I was like, And then a couple weeks after that, our pastor had a sermon about obedience. And then as I was eating at the table, I heard faith. And I told my wife, I said, hey, I just got another word. It's faith.
Effort.
Faith, effort, and obedience. Those are the three words that have been spoken. And ever since I heard those words, our lives have changed. I'm not going to lie, because instead of running from it, I walked towards it. And we found our ability to be advocates. I found the ability to tell my story no matter how tough it is. I found poetry. We found Mike. We found Amy. We found Enrique. We found Heather. So many blessings have hit us, and I just can't be grateful enough.
But Curtis's first word, well, it may not be his very first word, but the first word through this journey was when he was laying on the hospital table after having his first seizure. And I came into the room, the lady, he woke up, and you're in that post-itical stage. And for some people, that's a very angry stage because you're so confused. You have no idea what's going on. And he was. And if I'm being honest and vulnerable, he was very distraught when he had first woke up. He had no idea what was going on.
And I'll let her finish is because 4 hours, I lost 4 hours of my day that day. And I woke up, I was in somewhere strange. So I was like, what really happened?
And, he was confused and not sure what was going on. So when I saw him and I could barely even get the words out of my mouth, he was like, I saw the light. And I was like, what light? And he's like, I saw a light. It was really bright. And he goes, and I heard a word. I heard God. I heard him. And I was like, And I'm thinking, you just had a seizure. So you're just a little, confused right now. And he's like, no, I heard clear as day him say to me, I'm not ready for you yet. And ever since, it was so powerful. And ever since then, it's just been like a true testimony to show the strength that Curtis has had by all of these blessings, the poetry that he has, and he's been posting online like crazy. And we get so much feedback from that, and just all of the other things. And then his recent ones, obedience and effort. I just think all of that stuff ties in somehow. We don't know quite yet, but we're just walking that path.
And I don't need to know. I'm just going to be, here goes one of those words. You got to be faithful. You got to just believe. I don't need to know what's going in front of me because I don't know if tomorrow I'll be here. But I'll know it's right now. And right now, we're just going to be the best we can be the best for you guys, be vulnerable, honest. And if that's what you look for, then we're the right people.
Amen. And I think it's important. Faith is one of those words that I think it's so important that we lay out. I mean, the actual and literal definition is right there for us, but it is the evidence of things hoped for and the substance of things not seen. And all that means is that you can't see, feel, or touch faith, but you can see, feel, touch the results of faith.
That's right.
And I think that is I think that's the most powerful thing at all. Clearly the results of your faith are here, and we can see them, and they are inarguable. And that's the beautiful part about them. That's what I
Right.
love about that. So I love getting those words, man. And I love the fact that you are faithful and it's being proven every day. You know what I mean? That is huge. And want to get into, because, you know, epilepsy is what brought us together, and kind
That's
of
right.
the core there before we move too far out of that. Like what you were talking about, the first day you had a seizure. I remember the first, I don't think any of us will ever forget, especially if it happens a little later in life, man. Like, you know, I remember waking up in that and I was unhappy. You know what I mean? And
Right.
kind of coming where we come from, we'll get a little more into that in a bit. Like, we do not like to feel we're not in control, at least of ourselves, at any moment, but especially with something like seizures. So can you maybe talk to me a little bit about how that affected you? Just as, you know, we call you, for those that don't know, we call you Black Superman. You can do anything. You clearly seem like you can do anything. So being hit with this, man, like, you talk to us a little bit about what that was for you. You know?
Well, to be honest, when I found out, when I got hit with that seizure, because let's just rewind that. The 2 days before that, we were in the Keys and we were kicking it. I mean, kicking it like a kung fu movie, having the best time of our lives, walking around, eating food, just chilling. Me, my wife, my daughter, we were just kicking it. I mean, literally having the time of our life. The night before I had my first seizure, we were in the pool. I had a drink of Hennessy. I remember that I had one shot of Hennessy, and we went upstairs, called it a night because we were leaving the next day. The next day when we got up, I felt fine, like nothing had ever happened. I get into the elevator and I smelled burning oil. Like I was like, do y'all smell that? It was like real bad burning oil. And I started sweating real bad. And I didn't think nothing about it. But once again, let me rewind. I was at work the Friday before we left. My Apple Watch starts going haywire. I mean, literally haywire. I was like, yo, what's going on with this thing? It's calling 911 and my emergency contacts.
He came home and told me that. And he was like, I think I need a new watch. Yeah. My watch is going crazy and it keeps telling me I need to call 911. Right. Well, so I get on Amazon, order a new watch.
And right after that, after we get out of the pool, we're on our way home, the smell in the elevator, I start sweating. We go to the front. My daughter and I, we love to play against each other. Like, she's my best friend. I mean, literally, she puts her feet on me every day. She don't like me, but she puts her feet all over me, lays on me and sniffs me. But she was in the back seat. I was in the front, and I turned on Pantera Walk. She said, Dad, can you turn that off? I said, no, I turned it all the way up. We had a convertible. I was like, we're kicking it, girl. And she wanted to listen to Billie Eilish. So we take off, and I say, we're supposed to go take a picture at the most furthest point buoy. And we didn't. And we were getting on the road. We were talking about food. I looked up, seen an airplane. And the next thing you know, 4 hours of my life is gone. I mean, literally 4 hours of my life. Now I'm 49. I never had a seizure in my life. 48, my bad. I never had a seizure in my life. So I woke up 4 hours later in Keys General Hospital, or whatever that hospital's name is. And the lady who was next to me, her name was Heather. And the reason why I noticed her, she had this big peacock tattoo on her arm. So shout out to Heather. If you're out there, I appreciate everything you did for me. But y'all could have left my tank top alone. But that was the day that my life changed. And from that point on, I had to sink or swim. You know, it was definitely rough.
The first 5 months, I'll be honest.
I was scared. I mean, literally, I was scared. Some people say, well, you're too big to be scared. My butt, let me tell you, you let something like lose 4 hours of your day and you was just living life to the fullest. So now, for me, I'm limited. You can't drive. You're dependent on other people. So that's where that word faith comes in, because you have to have faith in other people to make sure that you're going to get what you need done. So for me, when you build that faith, then there's another word that you must have. You must have this. If you're epileptic, you got to have this word, and that's trust. You got to trust somebody, because if you don't, I promise you, it's going to be a rough ride. You might get it done, but it'll be a little bit more rough than you expect. So trust, that's what I had to learn. I had to trust, and I had to believe in myself. Like, I had to believe in myself more than I ever had. I've been through a lot of things in life, but epilepsy is one thing that really humbled me. And it made me a better person, father, husband, advocate, and just all around better pillar in my community. So,
heck yeah. And as his wife, Ashleigh, as somebody who had to be there, you know what I mean? And if you don't mind me asking, what are kind of the frequency of your seizures since you started? Would you say monthly, twice a month, once every 3
So
months? Like kind of
It was like every 30 days. Every 30 days I was having one. And they're all nocturnal, so I'm having them in my sleep. Last one I had, my neighbor had to come over and help her because I almost fell off the bed. You know, I'm a big guy, 250, but she gives it her all. Let me tell you, she's on that bed so fast with them rescue meds. Valtico, shout out, my neurologist, y'all, amazing job. We love you guys. You saved my life more than once, and a couple people I know. But it's rough. And
Curtis's first seizure was September 1st. And it was not a nocturnal one. It was a grand mal seizure as I was driving. And I thought he was having a heat stroke. So honestly, and because we're very Christian people and religious, it looked like an exorcism. I'm not going to lie. And so when Curtis came out of it, he asked me, he asked everybody in the hospital, what just happened? What's going on? He's like, you had a seizure, sir. And they're like, stop lying. He's like, there's no way I had a seizure.
Yeah.
And so we came home, and then me being the proactive person that I did, I got on the computer. I reached out to my neurologist and I said, I know he's going to ask for an MRI. Let's make you an MRI appointment. Like, I did all of these things. We made an appointment with our primary care doctor to get the prescriptions, to get all of the things to line up, because I didn't want to go to a doctor and then be like, well, we got to do some more testing. No, I want to go and you're going to give me some answers. And that was part of being an advocate for my husband. His second seizure was September 19th, and that was his very first nocturnal seizure. I think that was probably the most scariest thing for Curtis, because to know that you go to bed, and I'm sure you two can talk about this, but going to bed and thinking everything is okay, and then realizing you had a seizure in your sleep and thinking, holy cow, like I could have died, like I could have not woken up. And that was really Curtis's biggest fear, is what if I go to sleep and I just don't wake up? And as his wife, I have to be there for him and support him in those feelings and emotions. And they're very raw, like very, very raw. Right. To think that you're going to go to bed and never wake up again. I mean, not very many people face that challenge. And so those that do understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. Curtis's second seizure was on October 20th. And I was not home for that. But as his wife, because he's my person, I was at work and Curtis had a schedule, and he would text me anywhere between 10 and 11:30, because that's when he got up. And I didn't get a text message, and I had gone to my boss and said, listen, I need to go home at lunchtime, and either I'm coming back and everything's going to be fine, or I'm going to be home because my husband had a seizure. I didn't hear from him. I flew into the door when I got home at lunchtime, and he was laying in the bed, shivering, shaking. And those are all his post-itical signs. So I believe that he had a seizure. He doesn't remember much that day. That other confusion part triggers that he had a seizure. Curtis's fourth seizure was in November. We came back from our anniversary cruise, and
I had two that day.
He had two that day. He had started to fall asleep in the car on the way back, and our neighbor picked us up, and I had seen him, falling asleep, and he was like twitching and stuff. And it wasn't a full-blown nocturnal or anything, but I gently rubbed on his arm, was like, hey. And he looked up, he was confused. I knew right on his face he was in the midst of the beginning stages of having a seizure, and we were able to stop it for the most part. He got home. We had a friend's Thanksgiving thing that we were going to go to. I could see it in his face, and he spoke to me, and he said, I don't feel right. I feel like I don't feel right. Something's off. And he's like, I'm just going to lay down for a minute. And he did. And he laid down, and then he had his very first focal impaired awareness seizure. So he didn't have the tonic-clonic, but he started like chewing on his tongue. And I went over to him and grabbed his face, and I was like, what are you chewing on? And
scratched my whole face up.
He wasn't coherent to what I was saying. And then he started like pulling and picking at his clothes. And so I knew something was wrong. I grabbed the rescue meds, gave it to him. The ambulance came. He had a full-on conversation with them, didn't remember nothing. And then
I will have
and then we were good for 69 days. And then January 30th was Curtis's last seizure that he had, and that was a nocturnal seizure as well.
God.
So we actually just went and did blood work today to check his lamictal levels to make sure that we're on the right path to preventing as those seizures for the future time.
I don't need no more of them.
So a couple things there. One, when you said you felt like he was in the beginning stages of one and you guys stopped it, how did you do that?
So I gently woke him up. So I read a lot of stuff, and they say like if
when
you
have the
take,
auras, when you have your aura, you can come out of it, but it takes a little bit of help.
Yeah.
It don't guarantee that the seizure is not going to happen, but it delays it a bit.
So I took my nails, and if you ever have somebody else do it to you, don't do it to yourself because it's not the same sensation. It's like when you're brushing your hair, you don't feel every time you pull a knot out, and when you go to the beauty parlor and they're brushing your hair, you're like, ah, same type of thing. So I took my nails and I scratched him on his arms, like to get his brain to trigger something or to stop triggering. And I did, and I was scratching and rubbing on his arms, and I was squeezing his arm forcefully to try to trigger something, and it did, and it woke him up. But we also recently were away at an epilepsy event in March, and he started to have some aura signs, and he's like, I don't feel good, something's wrong, like maybe it's the pizza that I ate. But then he's like, I feel just like Friendsgiving, and I feel like I'm gonna, so Curtis is so in tune with his body that his breathing skills are impeccable. And if you can focus on something other than what's about to happen, a lot of people describe it about the doom and gloom type of feeling. If you can get your brain to think of absolutely nothing or something else, Curtis has been able to stop it so that he does not go into a full tonic colonic and just has the aura.
It's mind over matter, really. You gotta, it's a lot of focus. It don't happen every time. So don't think you could just think about it and it's going to go away. I don't mean that by far. So everybody out there listening, that's not
It's
how
not
it happens.
foolproof. And everyone
Right.
is different. I think we should say,
Right.
no matter what you say, no matter what I say, as folks who, have seizures, suffer from these kinds of things, epilepsy, everybody is different. What works for me may not work for you.
That's right.
Correct.
What works for you for a little while may never work for me.
Right.
Vice versa. It just this is such a individual specific situation that affects everybody so differently that I kind of want to just put that out there to everyone that come to Information Lane and talk. One of the great things about Information Lane is that we are not going to hammer, this is the way to fix it. We're going to say, this works for me at this time, but we're all learning and growing. But maybe this is some information that you can carry with you when you go to your neurologist. You talk to your significant, that can help.
Or the person in the community that's going through it that don't get the same information that you get. You know what I mean? So always awareness starts at home. And once you pass the word out, if you're going through something, you talk about it, that's when it becomes relevant. If you keep it in, it's not relevant. Once you speak it into words, then now you got a plan. You got to start somewhere. Let's start somewhere.
Absolutely. I agreed. And you were talking about, I guess you're saying through breathing and focus, you feel like it gives you the best opportunity if you feel auras through specific breathing and focus. It gives you the best opportunity to maybe prevent that from happening.
For me, it's like the oxygen. Like you got to learn to control your breathing. And like the doctor will tell you, when you're doing your blood pressure, a lot of people get high blood pressures when they do those tests because they're breathing like you're supposed to do deep breaths. It's a belly breath. You got to fill your stomach up and let it out through your nose, in through your mouth till your belly swells, out through your nose, and then you can relax and calm yourself. That's right.
Yeah.
Roll your neck. Yeah.
Get
that blood flow going from the neck. Yeah. If there's any knots in your neck, try to work those out. Get that blood flow going up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm going to send you the TENS machine. We got a couple of TENS machines. You put that thing on there. Oh man, it's like heaven sent.
And like you said before, Mike, I just want to touch on this real quick. You're right. What worked for Curtis with breathing may not work for somebody else. They may not have that opportunity to do that. But what I also encourage a lot of people to do is talk to your doctor about a rescue med. We were told by a different doctor that rescue meds are only for people with cluster seizures.
And that's not true.
That's not true. We spoke to actual reps from my neurologists at epileptic events that we've attended and asked them, and they're like, no, it's for the first onset of it. And a lot of people will tell you too that you do it, within the first 5 minutes. And actually, that's not true either. What is true is that you do it as fast as you can. If you see someone having a seizure, you administer the medication right away to stop them from having a full-blown tonic-clonic.
That's right. And always consult your medical physician for using any drug, any rescue meds. Make sure that your doctor knows about it, discuss it with them, and learn the ins and outs, the do's and the don'ts, because that's what separates awareness from just being aware.
Right. And Curtis doesn't have any other lining issues. So as far as what works for him, someone else may have like Parkinson's or have diabetes or some other type of thing. So we're like, the breathing may not work for them.
Well, I learned that breathing helps anxiety. And a lot of that comes with epilepsy. You have anxiety. And if you breathe properly, your body, it works different, because your body is mostly, you got oxygen to breathe. You know what I mean? Oxygen for your blood to pump. So you got to breathe. And just learn to relax. I'm not saying that everybody should do what I do, but find something that you hold peace in, something that fills your heart the most, and go there. They can never take it from you because it's a memory. Find that memory and go there, and that's your spot. And when you find your spot, you'll know, because you'll be able to be in the room and not be in the room.
It's a peaceful feeling.
Absolutely. We called it zenning out, but I love that.
That's right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, man. Deciding that you're going to control how you feel internally from yourself versus letting all of the things around you determine how you're feeling right now. One of my favorite things, and it's very hard, right? But one of my favorite things that in philosophy is you have a choice, and people a lot of times will say, well, you don't choose your feelings. And it's like, that's correct. That is correct. How you initially feel, you really don't control, but the behavior, right? And a lot of times you can control the feeling because first you put it through a filter of thought, right? Of, okay, I'm going to be mad hearing this information because of my idea of myself and what I am wanting right now. And this information stops that cold, right? It forces my brain or life in a different scenario. And now I'm like really unhappy and out of control, possibly. Whereas it's like, okay, I get this information, and instead of choosing any reaction or to be mad or hurt, I stop and I wait and I think about this information, what it means to me. And then I move forward with whatever emotion I've chosen. So that's awesome. And that's almost impossible to do. But I love that idea. And I love the idea of being in that place. And I know we can't always do that. And of course, major tragedies and things you're not going to, but just the normal little things that'll eat at you and make you angry that you could go, you know what, man, if I would have just taken 5 minutes before I called that dude or whatever, for me, I'll say for me, like, well, that happened to me. 5 minutes. Yeah.
That happened to me yesterday. I had made a barbershop appointment. Usually when I'm home, I walk, but instead this is something between Ashley and I. She never likes me to walk anywhere. She's like, well, I just make it for later and I'll do it. Well, I'll take you. And all right. So I play the ball game. And of course I missed my appointment, so if I would have walked, I would have got there. So as an epileptic, that's one of those things, like you got to wait on the ride. It's nothing she did wrong. I'm just always punctual. I love to be on time, and to miss an appointment was a little rough. It wasn't her fault, of course, but if I would have had it,
the barber was running behind.
But if I'd have had my appointment when I usually keep it and walked, I would have made it. So that's the compromise you got to make. And then it's little things, but for me, that's the highlight of my week besides our podcast. You know what I mean? I love you guys in church. So all I really got is the barbershop. Shout out to my barber.
Well, and for me, it's like you mentioned, the Florida sun. So I'm thinking, why walk when I can take you if you just make it for a couple of hours later when I get home from work? And it's me being the caregiver. We're not really the wife, wanting to take care of him to make sure that all of his needs are met as well. I know that a lot of people struggle with that independence and not driving with epilepsy. So like, not that I feel selfish, but it's a feeling that I have. I really can't like put my pin on it, but it's if I can take him and I'm willing to take him, let me take you. You know, we talked about this once before about making the lunches and stuff. But for me, it was, I just would rather take him knowing that he gets there safe. And in my mind, because the devil works in me sometimes, I think, well, what if he just drops and falls and has a seizure along his walk? Like,
what do I say?
Who's God's got me? So like, I just,
yeah, you'll what if yourself into like absolute misery, and you can't necessarily always do that. And I like, this is interesting because I go through this too. And I think it's like, if I may, Curtis, to try to like talk from your point of view, and when I'm wrong, just tell me to shut up. But like,
no, we're on the same page.
For him, it's so much more than a barber's appointment, right? It is one of, as he mentioned, 3 or 4 things in his whole life, right? So if it's you know, and you're doing the church and the podcast and everything else with him, so my man made, besides back-breaking, brutal 100-degree heat work, there's maybe one thing, and he doesn't even get time in his car to listen to music or his own little podcast, scream if he's mad, you know, have those conversations that all men have in the car that keep us sane. And drive time is key sometimes. Y'all have no idea. But anyway,
you can scream.
So probably, you know, that time he goes to the barbershop is so valuable. That hour and a half a week is, he would trade a lot of other hours or probably come off double the amount he pays for the cut to have that for him. Right.
That's right.
Yeah, and I know it's his personal time. You know, I know it's his time.
Let me finish. And not anything against you. Not anything against you. So you're not thinking like that, right? You're like, I'm a caretaker. My man walking in 102-degree weather with epilepsy, and he drops and starts shaking. Half of the people are going to think he's a drug addict because they're going to, because that's the reality of us.
That's right.
And where we live, and all the drug abusers out there on the streets. If we're walking on the street and fall, you know what I mean? So there's that. And then there's like, please, I love you. And I wanted my act of service is an act of showing you love, as a love language, speaking to you. And if you turn that down, now I'm kind of hurt that you would turn that down. And he's like, okay, well, now I'm dealing with that. Right. So it's like both of you are doing the trade-off and the give and the take thing. You know what I mean? And I understand from Curtis's point of view, and I want you to understand, I do kind of understand from your point of view too. You're trying to love him in the best way you know how. And he feels like he's trying to compromise to allow that love, but then that hurts him because this one little thing he has to give up, which is like, well, you're not compromising or coming to the table with the same amount as I am for us to do this thing. And then when it doesn't work out, you know what I mean? I'm like beside myself there. And I think it's important that, because he was like, I was frustrated, and then I was thinking about you in the same way, and me and my wife joke about this, but I'm like, yeah, when I'm angry and frustrated and it's just me and you, guess who gets all that?
That's right. It comes right out.
Not the situation, you know what I mean? Not the air. No, you get it because it's what it is, and you're the person there. And I need to remember, in all of this whole damn thing, you're the one that's going to clean me up. You're the one that's going to pick me up. You're the
one who
only
wiped me down the night I peed on myself twice. She cleaned it and didn't judge me.
Yeah, you're the only one in this whole thing that has dedicated your life to helping me through it. And while it is frustrating, and while you may make mistakes as a caregiver sometimes, ooh, you wanted to give me a ride, you piece of dirt. Kidding.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I need to be patient and kind with you, even when it's real hard on me sometimes. And then by the same token, I need to understand as a caregiver how valuable that hour and a half is to you. And maybe, you know, give you that space. So I don't know, man. I'm not a counselor at all. I'm just like,
well, you're doing a good job, Therapist Mike.
Well, for me, like I told her, it's the independence. Like, you can't drive.
Yeah.
They keep telling you what you can't do. And ask her what my favorite question is. What can I do? You know what I mean? That's the question. I never say can't. I'm American, so I can. No shot to anybody out there, but God bless America. And God, I love you. But
yeah, well, it's not for nothing on that, but love or hate the country, it's where we're all at. You know what I mean? It's like, you can love or hate where you live, but you have an option. You can kick holes in the walls and light fires in you know what I mean? Or You can try to put a new coat of paint and a new carpet that, like it or not, this is where we're
That's
at.
right.
So I'm going to try to make
there's
it good.
or there's deals on one-way tickets at JetBlue. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
No, and I know that in all seriousness, I know it's his time and it's something that I have to come to terms with. And it's, again, I struggle with that internally for myself of being the wife and being the caregiver. And we've talked about that too. That's a fine line that you
Right.
walk. So I just want to make sure that he's good. And too, a lot of the times he'll make his appointment for like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is like the dead of the heat of the day. And then he's already come home and just gone to bed like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm like, God, he's only getting a couple hours of sleep. And then he's going to go walk and exert himself to the barbershop. So like, even if I were to be like, hey, could you make it for like 3 or 4? And he's like, again, you're telling me what to do. Like, I'll make my barber appointment when I want to make it. So,
Well,
and I get that.
How about you make a deal? You know what I mean? You make a deal. Okay, you can do it however you want to do it, but the first time you have a seizure
You're
in
right.
the situation, and the first
You're
time that
done.
my worst
Right.
fears are realized, then
Yeah.
from
But what I'm
then on,
saying
I
is-
get to tell you when you book your appointment, and I get to drive you there. Deal?
That's
I
right.
bet he'd
Now
make
that's
that
nice.
deal with you.
That would be nice if I was rich. If I was rich, that'd be okay. But I still, all right, check this out. I can go to work and work 70 hours and walk 7 miles a day, but I can't walk a third of a mile to the barbershop because it's hot. Come on now. Where's the sense?
Hey man, I'd make a deal. Just make the deal. Just make the deal.
Like,
Just make
I let her take. If it makes her feel better, I do it. You know, even if it's against what I want to do, she's my wife, so ultimately she's got to be happy. Happy house, happy spouse. You know, so
I love that.
I know you do. So does my wife. If you
thanks, Amy.
He's gotten a lot better at it.
I love
happy
it.
me, happy world. Of course, yes, I
That's
love
right.
that.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better at it. I'll be honest. I mean, we're honestly, we're not even a year into this and we're still navigating. So,
But you heard what she said. A year into this, and we are kicking tail for you folks out there. I just want to let you know,
Amen.
all this comes from passion and heart, and we are killing it daily. And let me tell you, I hope you guys are loving it, accepting it, and please lean into it because that's what we're doing it for. We're not doing it for us. We're doing it for you guys and us. So,
yeah, I mean, it just, like I said, we're barely even a year into this. September will be our 1 year that we've been dealing with this, and it's not going anywhere. It's staying here for life. I mean, Curtis may never have another seizure again, praise the Lord, but as long as we know he has epilepsy, I'm always going to be the caregiver
that's
wife.
right. And even if I have a seizure, I'm still going to get on here and spread positivity because that's
Yeah.
what my mission is. God didn't say you got to spread positivity only if you're seizure free. He said, I give you these seizures so you spread positivity and let's get it.
Either way, right? Either
That's
you
right.
heal me and I will spread my testimony,
I'll
or
be
this
obedient.
will be something I experience. And like Paul said, God said, my grace is sufficient for thee, and I will go and I will find those who are
Amen.
suffering with me, and I will lift them up. That's
That's
either
right.
way. That's what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I love that.
Yeah.
And in speaking to that, that's something that I wanted to talk to you about, Ashley, is that whole, it is so tough because no matter how much we love, our love is imperfect, right?
Oh,
No
yeah.
matter best of intentions, no matter how hard we try, especially as caretakers, because your love is under a microscope, right? You have a
Mhm.
suffering person who is struggling with a condition that really challenges who they are to the core of themselves, right? Not like, and this is no offense, I understand, but if it's diabetes, it's like, okay, well, we got to change our diets,
Yeah.
It's not, well, no, you can't drive now. And if you walk too far and it's too hot, you could
Can't
possibly
swim.
die, and I'm going to freak out. Yeah, and watch out.
You can't stay in shape because you can't work out.
Got to put a bunch of, yeah, man. You got to put a bunch of pillows around your bed at night. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? If you were to roll over and fall off, you hit pillows and not the floor. Wait,
Yeah.
I've done that a time or two. You'll learn.
Yeah, definitely.
We've
You're like,
tried
why not
doing that
put
because
pillows?
when he had one, I was freaked out. I bought a body pillow and we laid it. And he was really like, what is this? Kicks him out of the way.
I do in the morning. I like them, man. But that's just, everybody's got their thing. You know what I mean?
I got a cold pillow. That
Okay,
thing stays
cool.
cold all day. I love it.
It's addictive of mine.
But yeah, so because all of our loves are imperfect, because we're just human, and because, like, what I was trying to think about was the idea of heartbreak, for lack of a better way to say it. And that is, like, as a caretaker, you deal with heartbreak. And you deal with heartbreak on a level of, I'm not doing it right with this person, and that hurts because I'm trying really hard, right? And then you deal with the deeper heartbreak of, oh, and then I've got to see them suffer through the thing I'm trying to take care of them so they don't suffer through. Even though, once again, none of this is your fault, none of this is on you, but you have to deal with this heartbreak. And it's something I wanted you to maybe share with others and share with Curtis here about what that is and how you deal with it, because I think it's important that we know.
That's right.
So we made it almost a whole show with no tears, and you had to bring this question up.
Well, I don't know. I said a few back there. So.
It is hard, and it's hard when, so epileptic patients with side effects of medication go through mood swings, right? So that's one of the things. Yes.
No.
Never. We never go through mood swings. I can't believe you're saying that right now. I'm kidding.
Never. How
and
dare
then
you?
one of the other things too that will contribute to a mood swing is lack of sleep. Epileptic patients need more sleep than the typical person. I can run on 5 hours of sleep. Curtis needs a full 8 hours. Now, does he get a full 8 hours? On the weekends, but during the
As
week,
his
no.
friend, seldom. Yeah, I don't know about in the last 2 weeks. No.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
So, and when he's running on fumes, like he's been the last few days, and he lashes out and he says things, it's hurtful. I'm not going to lie. It's hurtful. However, because I know my husband has epilepsy, I give him grace. And I know that he's just having a bad day. And the reason that I know that is because the majority of our days are good. And so when he's having those bad days and he's lashing out, like he was a little short-tempered yesterday, and a lot of times he doesn't recognize it right away. And I don't want to bring it up because it's going to cause a fight, and I'm not trying to cause a fight. And because I then seem like I'm insensitive, or he's like, well, you're making this about you. And, so.
It was all over the barbershop. Like I said, if I'd have walked earlier, I'd have had my beard done. She'd tell me to wait. I wait, then I don't get my beard done. So I was wrong for that. But I'm always punctual. So I'm always on time. So when I tell her, as my wife, she knows that's how I feel, then she would know what I'm going through. But I can't expect her to know because she's not a crystal ball. She can't read my mind. It's my idea to tell her. I have to tell her what's wrong. And we don't. We didn't yesterday, but
we're still learning.
Here we go.
So, he got to his appointment on time. He had to wait. But like his point is that if I was able to go earlier, he wouldn't have a barbershop full of people after work. And I would have been able to get my stuff done first thing in the afternoon. And I would have been done with everything. So I understand that and I get it. But sometimes the things that he says, they are hurtful. And they are, because it's like, well, if you're my person, why are you talking to me like this? But I think that's just from the lack of sleep. It's part of the mood swing from epilepsy and just dealing with all of that. So I have learned to walk away, breathe, and then come back because I know it's not a personal attack. And sometimes if I feel like it, I will gently ask, hey, what's going on? Like, what's the problem here? And sometimes he'll respond with an honest answer. And sometimes he'll be like, I'm fine, or just leave me alone.
Yeah. And that's fact, because not one, when you have epilepsy, not one conversation is two-sided. It's always a question and answer. You feel like you're being interrogated. Are you okay? Did this happen? Is that happening? Where you going here? Did you hit your foot? Oh, what's going on? Can you feel it? That's all you get is questions all day. I'm like, just talk to me about something other than epilepsy, because I try to forget it and they don't. And I think that's where we get frustrated, because I want to forget it. Caregivers don't want to forget it. They want to make sure that you're good all the time. And like I tell her, I said, if I'm not good, I promise you I'll tell you. But what I don't do is a million questions. Like, I don't like a million questions.
And because I want to know everything, so I ask all of those things. And sometimes he'll make a weird noise. Like, for instance, in the very beginning, God forbid.
I sneezed one day. She said, are you okay? I'm like, oh, yeah.
God forbid he does a stretch. And before epilepsy, when he stretched, he would just stretch like the rest of America. But after epilepsy, I felt like it was a bit theatrical.
It was, because I was comfortable in my own skin. You know what I
Right.
mean? When I yawned at first, I stigma yawned. I just yawned to let people know that I was tired, but I didn't show them how tired I was. But now that I yawn, you know how sleepy I am.
And so I was just like, oh my God, are you okay? And sometimes the roar would come out, that same like roar at the beginning of a seizure when people make that noise. And I would jump, and I was on edge all the time. And so I would ask him, are you okay? And he was like, if I'm not okay, like seriously, you'll be the first person to know.
Literally, because I'm right next to
you. For me,
I was going to say, and that's another like opportunity, right? Like a couple of things you said there. One, I've got to work on the whole. We get frustrated with our ladies when we try to kind of express our frustration, and then you guys get upset. We feel like, why are you making this about you and how you feel?
Yes.
Because I'm not trying to do, I need you to hear me. I don't need you to feel sad about what I'm saying, because that doesn't fix anything, right?
Nothing.
And then you're going to go into a mental place that's not understanding where I'm at, and you're just walls and attack versus, oh, maybe I made a mistake, or I'm not understanding where he's at, right? So,
and that also keeps people from venting. Like when things like that happen, understanding is a must, because when someone who has epilepsy like me and I vent, and now you're thinking I'm hurting your feelings, it makes me not want to say nothing the next time, and then or take your temperature before I talk to you about certain things. But if I'm willing to open up and you want to listen, then you got to listen when I'm willing to open up, because if no one's listening, then I'll just keep it in. And that's what we're trying to avoid. That's why I fight so hard, because in the beginning, that's what I was. And now I had to be the change. What I prayed for in the beginning was change and understanding. So now that's what I have to be. And is it rough from time to time? Yes, it is, because we talked about at the beginning, I'm an imperfect person, but my heart is pure. And I do have to watch what I say and watch how I lash out. But it's one of those things, I can't control that. I can control how I react after that, but I can control the apology. But sometimes I can't control the anger or the frustration, because there's a lot going on. You know?
And for me, I had to learn how not to take it personal, because it wasn't a personal attack at me.
And I won't be mad at her. I'll be mad at the world.
Yeah, well, and to that, like being frustrated when they ask if we're okay. I'll give you a perfect one there, right? So what I had to do was learn the compassion of her. You know, one of my favorite sayings is put yourself in my shoes, right? Compassion means exchanging yourself with the other person for a minute, going, what if they were more important than me in my life right now? What if their heart, mind, emotions, and what they were wanting and what they were yelling about or crying about or talking about was the most important thing right now for a minute? What if I just pause and let that happen for a minute in my mind, right? And you realize, man, imagine if you live with someone that every time they made a crazy or funny sound, they were scared. They were on the edge of watching you just freak out, a seizure, a traumatic event. Well, then that's their PTSD, right? And that's trauma triggers in their heart and mind because of something that you not consciously, but because of something you put them through.
And I say that too, because she sees the caregiver sees the beginning and the end, the alpha and omega. Only thing we see is the aftermath, you know. So
I can't tell you what I look like during a seizure. I have no clue. You know what I mean? Until somebody films it. So
has Amy done that?
I know one day I might be able to lick my elbow. I know
that. but it's just to keep in mind, like for her, I go, I'm okay. I hate it when she does it, like when we're going to sleep, right? Like, you know, allergies or something, I'll sneeze and make a funny sound like, or something, you know, and she'll be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, babe, I'm okay. It's okay. Just rest. We're good. Relax.
Like out of a dead sleep.
Yeah, because I realize there's a trauma trigger PTSD reaction in her.
Yes.
And even though she might not ever say it, and even though subconsciously it's not anything, and she is more than willing to go through it right now, call an ambulance if she needs to, everything, and she's ready to go. And it's like, well, you're just, and she'd be like, no, never. But in the back of her mind, there's about to be trauma again. The man I love more than anything in the world is about to go through something horrid that could kill him. And I am going to be the only one witnessing this and to help him. Right?
Yeah.
In the back of her mind, that's triggering. So are you okay? She's preparing for all that subconsciously. Adrenaline is being released. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cortisol.
Anxiety. Yeah.
And so like instead of like being frustrated with her, which I was for a while, I mean, like, God, I get it. Gee, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
Same here.
Yeah, like,
Same
how about
here.
before you talk, you pay attention? Do I look like I'm
Write
about
them
to have a
things
seizure?
down.
I need to sneeze. And it's like, well, she can't help that. If that's her subconscious brain, the same part of your brain that when you hear, when you see an elephant at the zoo, there's a tiny bit of fear, even though you know you're completely
Right.
safe, because a million years ago, that elephant would have trampled our family, so we had to run from it. That same part of her brain is being triggered, laying next to us, trying to get her sleep because she's got a whole life tomorrow, and she's got to
Right.
work, and she's got to take care of kids, and she's got a human body to take care of too, and a life. And all of that she has to stop simply because she loves me. And there are so many other dudes. So when we put it like that and think of it like that, a lot of times, man, we go, oh, man, well, maybe because I might go through this again, and because of what she's been through, I'm able to comfort her in this moment. And because of something I don't want to admit that stops me from being able to comfort my wife when I would like to. And in this moment, I'm able to, I'm going to take that opportunity. Because I promise if tomorrow was my last day, I would have wished I would have comforted her rather than snapped at her and told her to pay more attention. You know what I mean?
Right.
For me, I'm just saying, things like that. And once again, compromise on all ends. You know what I mean? I'm just, and I'm not perfect either, but, just stuff like that.
We usually don't argue over much. And like I said, ever since Epilepsy, we don't argue over. We have disagreements like on what we're going to eat or what movie we're going to watch, things like that, or what mall we're going to, but we don't really.
I gave up on that a long time ago.
Yeah. We compromise. Wherever she wants to go, I go.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just talking specifically of epilepsy. Just, we get frustrated with our caretakers, and I try to tell everyone, I understand they can be frustrating, and they don't understand where we're at, and sometimes we give them the most, and sometimes we feel like they deserve it, but there are times we can go,
but for now,
in this moment,
I give them the short version. I don't give them the long version no more. I summarize it. See, in the beginning, I was giving them everything. So what I did is I condensed all the information, kept it important, and just give it to them right now, all at once. Like, this is how I'm feeling. I woke up weird. Did you eat? Yes, I did.
But like, you're right, Mike, because Curtis has had 2 nocturnal seizures. So any little noise in the middle of the night, I'm like, it immediately triggers my brain, and it triggers me to be on guard, and immediately my body goes in that fight or flight mode because I feel like something's about to happen. And he'll be like, I'm just rolling over.
She was like that before epilepsy, though. She was like that before epilepsy. And I tell you what, I don't see how she does it. Like, she'll be snoring, and then the TV's on, and she'll be like, did you see the Shark Tank? Like, how do you know what Mr. Wonderful's talking about, bro? You're just snoring. But that's how she is. She's definitely up. And like, I feel bad because she's, like you said, she's missing out on sleep and things like that. I tell her, go get you some rest, lay down, don't worry about it.
Like, for instance, last night, after we did the Friday night feeds, he was sitting on the couch watching wrestling, which is what he does. And I was
UFC isn't on, or moonshiners, just get that out there.
I was exhausted, tired. So I went to go lay down, took a shower, laid down, and I must have woke up like every 30 minutes or every hour on the hour. And I went out there to check on him because he fell asleep on the couch. And I'm out there twice rubbing his leg at like 2:00 in the morning. And I'm knowing that we have to get up at 8:15 to go do blood work, thinking you need to get some rest and you're working on 3 hours of sleep. So like, my caregiver is like in overdrive, right? So I'm trying to get him to come to bed. Like, you need to, and again, I don't want to be his mother and tell him like, you need to get in bed right now. Like, it's bedtime. And that's not what it is. And he's like, really? I'm fine. I just was waiting for the stupid commercial to be over. I just was resting my eyes. So I'm just like, okay, but
not for nothing, but and I don't mean to speak out of class, but my wife sometimes motivates me to come to bed, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey, she motivates me too. But a lot of times she wants me to get into bed so she can take her foot and rub it up and down my leg.
Are we dropping all the secrets? Like, what is this?
It's like this. It's called paintbrush. She goes like this the whole time with her foot.
Well, see, my wife tried to. I'm like, you can't do that with.
It's soothing for me.
Let me tell you. Last time she did, she got this toenail, boy.
Oh my God! Okay, just stop.
She stabbed me right in the leg with that thing. I was like, oh God.
We are down to cuddle, like tight cuddle. Yes, you know what I mean. That whole petting me like I'm a cat. That
The pet. I tell her that. I said, "Are you a pet?" She said, "No, I'm showing you love, honey."
Yes, but sometimes it's hard to keep the caregiver and wife thing into perspective, and it is PTSD for me because I witnessed my husband. He's only been home when he's ever had his seizures. Thankfully, he's never been out and about, dangered in a car, other than the first time, nor driving ever. He's always been home, and I've always been here, and I'm thankful that God has put me there every single time because I can protect my husband best to my ability. Now, it is a PTSD feeling, and for a very long time, after the second seizure, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't sleep probably for 30 days. He would fall asleep and I was like this.
Well, I didn't know I was asleep. I'd stay up. I was scared to go to sleep. I was like, oh man. She's like, you need to get some rest. I was like, no, I'm good.
He would roll over and look at me and he's like, are you staring at me? And I was like, yeah, I am. He's like, you're a creeper. Like, just go to bed. Like, just go to bed. And I was just like, well, you need to get some rest, knowing that one of his triggers was sleep deprivation. And stress. So I definitely had it really rough in the beginning. Now we're in a smooth breeze right now because we're like 150-ish days seizure free. So
almost driver's license ready.
I've been able to sleep like through the nights and stuff. I mean, Curtis works at nights. And so like when I wake up, I'll sometimes text him if I have to use the restroom or whatever. But most of the times I can sleep through the night now. And if little things don't trigger me, I feel like my PTSD has kind of fallen into a slumber so that I can try to learn how to deal with those things. So I'm not always on, the only time that I think it triggers me is that one of his first signs of having a seizure is the sweatiness. He starts to break out in a hot sweat. And that's how it was the first time he told you. He was all sweaty and everything. So
wet sweat. Now.
Yeah, like dripping wet from the gym sweat. So like if he's laying in bed and I go to paintbrush and I feel it's wet over there, I immediately jump up. I'm like, are you okay? Or, and he's like, will you stop waking me up? I'm fine.
I've come to find out though, and this is not to cut you off, is when I have those sweats, it's because I found something in my dream that was like a deja vu, almost like you've lived it before. And then I wake up sweating, or if I've heard something before, then I wake up sweating. I don't know why that is. I'm going to talk to my neurologist, but I wonder what's causing that. Anybody out there that knows that, chime in, let me know, because that's weird. Like I'll see something that I did in the past, and when I wake up, I'm soaked. So I don't know.
And I've asked that question on other platforms, and people have said, oh, the sweatiness is a side effect of the medication. Not for Curtis. He's been sweating probably years before we even knew he had epilepsy. He would wake up before he even had his first seizure and he would be sweaty. So again, it could just have been he never had a breakthrough seizure to surface, and he was having those auras this whole time.
But as epileptic caregivers out there, we give you guys nothing but love. I know sometimes we're a little overwhelming, something to deal with, but we're nervous. Every one of them scared. If you say you're not, you're telling stories to yourself. But all the thing we can do is be man or woman enough to apologize and learn from your mistakes, because they didn't ask to be in a situation either. So we got to give them some grace, and also give yourself grace. You can't do anything about it. You got it. All you can do is run with it or sit on the sidelines.
Well, and open communication is very important. You know that, right? You and Amy have.
This is what I wanted to get into that I knew you guys never would if you weren't questioned. So I love you. This was a setup. No, but look,
I love it.
There are a lot of married couples going through epilepsy related stuff, whether it is some of our friends that we love very dearly in SUDA, whether it is real-time seizures, right now, whether it is, a child, a husband, a wife, but they're really going through this. And I wanted to knock all the sheen off you guys for a minute, because you guys have the sheen. You guys are so darn likable. Like everybody loves you, and they should. You're wonderful people.
And we love everybody back.
And you're, what I love is how, one of the many things I love is how humble you guys are. But it was so important that I wanted people to see, because I'm listening to you going, literally the thought I had a minute ago was, if you put a tape recorder in my living room and their living room, you would be shocked at how similar
that's right.
Not sort of, kind of, exact words.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, and that means that we're not alone here, man.
No,
there are a lot of folks going through this.
We feel exactly the same. And I think just us by us getting on this camera and telling people I peed myself, I think it's gonna break somebody out of that shell, because that's what it takes. You cannot be embarrassed of the situation that you're in. You did not ask for that situation. You did not ask for seizures, and everything that comes with a seizure, you have to accept,
embrace.
And that's one of those things. And embarrassment, you have to get out of that. There's something. An embarrassing moment is when you get down on your knee and you say, "Will you marry me?" And she says no. Now that's embarrassing. To have a seizure, that's not so embarrassing. You know what I mean? You gotta.
I wouldn't know. I never had that happen. So anyway, they all said yes. It's just getting them to go away. But anyway, I'm kidding.
Hey, I only went fishing once. Now I got the one now, trophy fish.
Clearly, you know what I mean?
Caught me a marlin. Brought to you by Martinelli's.
The gold standards at apple juice.
In the glass bottle.
The little round little apples.
You know what I'm saying? But it's also one of the most inspiring things is seeing super couple be human. Seeing that, hey, sometimes due to epilepsy and medication and frustration and exhaustion, I am very frustrated, and I am not the man I could be sometimes. I am not always just super and just the best and totally flawless. I have issues sometimes, and I could be a little more patient and a little more long-suffering in my situation with my wife. And to hear the wife say, you know what? Sometimes I'm a little controlling, or, in my quest to be perfect as somebody who loves and caretakes, I make real mistakes that, that I could fix too. And like, people need to hear that, because we're making the same mistakes, right? And not in a bad way, and not that we're bad people. We're just trying really hard to do our best. And the beautiful thing about it is people who love each other and love God that are in the situations we're in. If we're making similar mistakes, it means we're trying. It means we're doing it right. It means we're on the path, man. And I would rather be in league with you guys, making similar mistakes, working on the solutions, loving each other, loving God, supporting the community, right? Than not talking about it, doing worse things, not building, not helping others, not showing people who Curtis and Ashleigh really are. We didn't even get into, I figured we'd go 1:30. And I'll ask this last, but I didn't really get to get into it. It's so off topic now.
Let's do it.
I really wanted to ask about when you got together in the beginning as an interracial couple. What did you face there? But that seems so small now compared to everything else. That was an earlier question I didn't get to because we got deep so quick. But
we can do it because I got judged. Like, they judged me big time, boy. They thought I was a drug dealer. They thought I was everything because I dressed nice, had jewelry, had a gold tooth. I was a drug dealer, not knowing that I was very well educated and came from good stock. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Well, and you're here too. You got the OG look. If I saw you on the street, I'd be like, "What's up, OG? How you doing, OG?"
Yeah, and that's what the kids call me. They call me OG, and that's the thing. I call everybody G. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, G?" And they call me OG, and that just carries over from a long time ago. I was a young kid doing that, and then this old man called me G one day. He said, "Here, come here, G." I said, "What does that G stand for?" He said, "Little Gangster," and OG stands for Old Gangster, so original gangster. But gangster's a lifestyle, not an act.
Yeah.
But
banging on epilepsy.
I'll say, like, for me, the only really person that judged us was my dad, and my dad learned to love and accept Curtis before he passed away. My mom is very open. My mom was raised in the Bahamas, so she's very cultural. We didn't have that judgmental type thing. I would say maybe a little bit from some family members, but not nearly where it was a restraint between the two of us. We'd already made the commitment to each other when we had started dating very soon into our relationship. In fact, I remember one of the first 2 or 3 days of us texting and Curtis joking around and asking me to marry him. And I'm like, well, he's like, let me just put a ring on it already. And I was like, well, I'm a size 6. So like, and it was just joking around. But again, we were older in our 40s and we knew what we wanted. Now, yes, Curtis was judged by everybody. And I don't think it's because we were just an interracial couple. It's because of how he appears, and he's got a gold tooth. And if you know who Curtis is, you know there's a symbolic meaning behind the gold tooth. It's not just a gangster type thing. It's a gold tooth, and it's a meaning because it's something that his mother gave him. She had her jewelry melted, and because his mother's gone now, it's the only thing left that he has from his mom. He's covered in tattoos, back, legs, arms, the whole everything. He's black. He's 6'2". He's 200 plus pounds. So he is intimidating to some people. And it's like, what do you see in this guy? I see his heart. I'll tell you what turned me on the first time. I'm going to keep it PG. It's the accent. Curtis doesn't realize how country he sounds. And it's his twang, his accent. I think it's so sexy, but I mean, that's just me. And it was the way that he treated me. And the second episode, Curtis was talking about intimacy and all of those things. And he is right. If you can get someone's mind to come, the rest is history. So if you're having intellectual conversations with somebody, that's what we talked on the phone in the beginning. And neither one of us were big talkers on the phone to begin with. We would text, but we text and talked all the time. Yes, in your 40s, you still do that when you're in love.
That's right.
So we did that a lot. And then we got to the point where we just wanted to be together, and we didn't really care what anybody else thought. I was like, they're either going to come along for the ride or they're not.
One or the other.
And so we did, and we had an amazing turnout in our wedding with people and our friends, and everybody was accepting. And, you know, Curtis is mixed. He's half white, half black. So, and not that was even a thing for me either. It's like, oh, he's half white, so I can be with him. I didn't care. It was who Curtis was, who his heart was, and how he treated me. And I love him for all of those things. So again, we didn't care what anybody else thought.
Well, I think in the beginning, like the people that was on her side, they were a little different because I was not a loser. You know what I mean? I was one of those people that didn't fit their lifestyle, the mold. And what I try to explain to him was, I don't fit in a mold. I came to break that thing. You know what I mean? And I told him all the time, I said, I'm sorry, y'all had y'all's whole lifetime to put a ring on it. I said, don't hate me because I took advantage of my situation. You know what I mean? And got my wife.
Exactly.
But it just, it was rough at first, especially being black. And her dad was the main one who I really wanted to reach into. But I'm going to read you this message. Go on here real quick before we get off here.
Yeah, my dad was raised Catholic, and he was bullied and beat up by some black fellas when he was in high school. Well, so this is where he got that nasty taste in his mouth, and that's how racism starts.
And I want to send a shout out to Gail also. Gail gave me a ring. Let me tell you, I love skulls. That's my favorite thing.
Stepmom.
She gave me a ring, and she also gave me a belt buckle, and I hold those things dear to my heart. Even though I didn't get to speak to him, I could feel his presence with those things because that's who he was. But this was from Alan Merklin. I reached out to him a couple times. Never got any responses. And then one day, I mean, literally one day right after we got married, he sends me this text message, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Hello, Curtis. This is Mr. Merklin. I was surprised to see you reach out to me and text me because that's who I am. Even though you don't like me, I'm still going to reach out and talk to you because if I don't show you who I am, you'll never know." He said, Ashley is my firstborn. She is a great woman, but she gave me a heart attack. He said, we've been through things in our life that was troubled, but I always watch over her. He said, I hope you're happy with the marriage. In order to keep your marriage sound, you must keep your communication open, discuss everything, and do not go to bed mad at each other. That will give you a good relationship. He said, I've been with my wife over 30 years. We have an open relationship and we talk about everything. I wish you the best of luck. And the reason why I didn't come to your wedding is I have a lot of medical problems. Plus, I'm in a wheelchair. Thank you for reaching out. Love you, Mr. Merklin.
My dad was an amputee, and it was hard for him to travel. And our wedding was here locally. My dad lived in Sarasota. So he was with us in spirit, though. And he hadn't passed away yet. So obviously, because he sent Curtis the message, and my dad passed away a year ago this past January.
Well, that just goes to show, like, when people judge a book by their cover, you never know until you open it up and read it. And I think when he started reading who I was and judged me off my character and not my color, I think he realized that I was the one.
Yeah. Truly. And that was the only really judgment that we had going into this. So we've, outside of that, have had some really positive feedback.
And truthfully, for me, anybody else, I don't really care what they think. As long as her dad and mom like me, that's all that matters. I don't care about no cousins, aunts, uncles, any of that.
Yeah, man. like we were saying, 12% of the population does not need societal approval to move forward.
That's right.
And
Well, let me just tell you though, meeting her, Betty, Mark, my favorite people, Corey, Collis, love you guys.
It's like my uncle. They live in North Carolina, and they
Sneaks
live
Ferry.
over Evan, our son who's in the military. So that's a blessing too, because he's so close to family.
That's right.
Heck yeah. All right. So as we round the corner, guys, tell the people what you got going on, where they can find you, when they can find you.
So this is Information Lane. You can find us every Monday night here, or you can find us on our social media. We have an Instagram account, and it's Information Lane. You can subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble account at Information Lane. And if you're a Facebooker, you can find us on Epilepsy Awareness SFL for South Florida. That's how you can find me. I'm Ashleigh Lane. This is Curtis Lane, and he's going to take us out with a prayer.
Amen. Can I please have everybody take their hats off wherever you're at? Heavenly Father, bless our mission as we spread hope, awareness, and understanding. Give us strength to break stigma, courage to speak truth, and hearts filled with compassion for those who need it most. Lord, protect our team, guide our steps, and let every life we touch know that they are not alone. Open doors for meaningful conversations and to help us be a light for families searching for hope. May our efforts bring education, healing, and encouragement to wherever they reach and wherever this mission leads us. And that's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 All right.